Okay. Now, you probably hear me and don't see me. Or no, you see me, but I'm frozen. For some reason, my new camera setup keeps doing this, but I think I can fix it. Give me a second if you can hear me. Don't lose me. Don't lose me here. There we go. Hey, we're working, baby. I wish I could figure out how to make sure that it just works the first time. Or it just works when I turn it on. I'm not sure how to do that. But hey, I'll figure it out. Welcome, everybody. My name's Nate Allball. We are live, and I am live from downtown Champaign, Illinois. And this is a football show. This is a show for football. Well, I mean, for coaches. People who enjoy talking coaching. And we just hang out for 30 minutes. We have very, very little agenda. I do write some questions down to keep a conversation going. This is the winter streams of all things wings. So we've tried to work hard to bring on guys that are, run offenses with wings in them. So your Flexbone, your wing tee, single wing, you name it. All sorts of gun variations of options in wing tees. So we've had a lot of fun doing that. Ben Campos, what's up, Coach? Good to see you, man. Appreciate you stopping by tonight. Any wrestling fans here? Jordan Burroughs versus David Taylor. Do not tell me who's winning or who won, because I'm going to watch that match right after this show. I'm going to watch that match. I can't wait to see it. Really, I'm a fan of both. They're Americans, and I'm a fan of both, and I want to see them both do well. But they're wrestling each other. I can't help but root for David Taylor a little bit. Robert Bornholt, welcome, Coach. Thanks for being here. Well, fellas, we go live. We have a guest. We chat for 30 minutes. We hang out. I mean, that's it. The idea is to get to know some guys and share a few laughs and try to gain some encouragement because, in my opinion, I think coaching is hard. I think that working in schools is hard. It's good to be around like-minded people. Here in Illinois, I haven't been around our staff in quite some time, unfortunately, which is a huge bummer. Tonight's guest is Brad Seaburg, head football coach at Cary-Grove High School in Cary-Grove, Illinois. Good evening, David Thomason. Welcome. And Coach Seaburg's team, they're a machine. They're one of Illinois' finest. And, I mean, you just turn, when you see them on film, when you see them on television, when they're in the state title game, it just looks different. You know what I mean? I mean, they're a big high school. They've got very good athletes. They don't have like D1 athletes coming out of their ears, but they've got good athletes, and their execution is, man, for a high school team, it is flawless. Todd McDonald with the super chat. Hey, Coach, never miss a show. Sending our support from Fort Myers, Florida. Wow. Coach McDonald, thanks, man, for being the first to kick off a super chat. And look at that. Look at that little animation that goes along with it. Todd McDonald donated $5 through Super Chat. Thanks, Todd. I really appreciate that. Very grateful for the support. I'll have to make sure I got a little room on my screen over there. I'll have to make a little column for guys that have Super Chatted. Appreciate the support. Hey, tonight's spot. Let's get Coach in. I don't want to waste any more time. Tonight's sponsor, Coach Stone Football. Lay a foundation by going back to the basics with Coach Stone Football. Coach Stone has over 15 books available to purchase on Amazon. Want more information about Back to the Basics Football Drill Manual Series and new CSF Coaching Magazine? Go to his website at CoachStoneFootball.com or follow him on Twitter at Coach_Stone_MT. Check him out. And last but not least, if you'd like to get $30 to our store, which our store is, it's pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. Store.chiefpigskin.com, $30. All you got to do is click the share button below and let that link go over to Twitter and just let them know, hey, I'm hanging out with Chief Pigskin tonight. You do that, and you will make sure you tag us so I know you did it. And you get $30 to our store, to whatever you'd want to use it on. Or to our clinic. If you want to use the $30 to our clinic, get a month there. Coach Seaburg's got 3 videos over on the clinic. It's pretty special. Let's get Coach in here. I'm going to go admit him and switch my screens. There we go. We're getting them in. Coach Seaburg, how are you?
Coach, how you doing?
Really good. I'm switching my screen over. Make sure we got you. I'm pretty sure we got you now. Guys in the chat, as always, you're my sounding board. If there's any sound problems or anything at all, make sure you let me know. Coach Seaburg, I'm so happy to have you on. And, I came and visited you, that was a solid 2 years ago now, right?
The last time, it's funny, it was about this time of year, and it was the last time the Bears were legit. Because the day we filmed, it was the Parky Day.
That's right, and we were trying to get you out of there in time so we could go make sure we didn't miss any of that game.
Yeah, I got there just to see like 2 doinks, I think.
I think that was it, man. Well, that was some years ago, and we did 3 videos on your triple option. Your guys' option is machine. I know of Cary-Grove a little bit because I coached up in the Burbs and I coached in your conference. We didn't play you the 2 years I was there. Maybe we were only in the Fox Valley for a year. But anyway, I was at Johnsburg. And you guys are, along with, just a couple other teams, pretty good conference, right? But you guys are one of those teams in there that is always good. For anybody not familiar, that's in Crystal Lake, Illinois. Or near, right next to Crystal Lake, Illinois is Cary. And it's far northwest suburbs, Coach. How long does it take you to get to Wisconsin from where you are?
About 45 minutes.
Okay. So it's getting out there and up there. Where I was, we were in your conference, but man, I was about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We were right there. We were basically Wisconsiners. Well, everybody, welcome and thanks for joining, man. If you're here for the first time, second time, 8th time, check in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Coach Seaburg, I've been going live Monday through Thursday nights. We kind of go in groups of 12 streams, but we've been doing this since this summer. And we really just try to hang out. We talk for 30 minutes. It goes really fast. Of course, we always get to football. But for the most part, we're just trying to get to know you a little bit, man. Hey, where did you go to high school?
I went to Marengo High School.
Oh, that's right. You went to Marengo. So Marengo is a little bit further out, getting close to Rockford, right?
Yeah. So like Marengo, when I played, our first game of the season was Johnsburg.
No kidding.
And at that time, Johnsburg was in the conference with Marengo. And then Johnsburg got a little bigger, and that conference kind of moved a little further west to some more schools like Byron and Stillman, and kind of focused more out there. And then I went to Marengo, and then it's so funny because your sponsor, I went to college with Tony.
Did you
He
really,
and I
Coach
went to
Stone?
Lawrence. Yes.
Yeah, because he's coaching out at Boylan now.
Correct. Yep. Yes.
And that was at what school?
Loris College.
Oh, at Loris.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you guys play a sport together?
I played with him for 3 years.
On the football team?
Yes.
Now, what'd you play in college?
I played linebacker.
You were a college linebacker. Okay.
Yes.
Inside or outside?
You know what? So I was pretty smart, but I wasn't that good. But I was smart, so I could play all the positions.
Yeah.
And I was just smart enough to travel. And my first year, and then due to injuries, I was able to play. And then my last year, I kind of honed in on outside linebacker and started there. But yeah.
What other sports did you play in high school?
I played basketball and baseball, football, basketball, baseball.
Okay.
That's, it is in small school.
Yeah.
Illinois, that's what you do. And we were right from football, right into basketball, right into baseball. Never knew what an off season was, and I loved all 3 sports. And I just loved playing, and I just loved being with my friends, and and I had different friends. So, you had kind of different groups you kind of hung out with during the football season, and there were some different guys that you hung out with in basketball. But in a small school, you're all kind of connected there. So
yes,
yeah.
I know I was the same way. Played 3 sports. When I went to college, I played football. Then I wrestled. And the spring of my freshman year of college was the first off season I had, in my memory, I had ever had. And I remember going, what does everybody do? Like, what do we do? I don't know. I'm not used to this, right? It's like 3 p.m. and we're all just sitting around playing Nintendo, So, have you ever coached any other sports, Coach?
I coached basketball here for 5 years. my first 5 years here at Cary-Grove. Matter of fact, my first year here, I was the head sophomore basketball coach, and then I was a volunteer assistant for football. At that time, as you know, Bruce Kay was here before me, and he hired me as the coach, and but he's like, I don't have any paid jobs, and at that time, I was like, I just want to be a part of it. I want to coach. I want to do whatever I can and learn, and so I coached basketball for those first 5 years, and then we had a kid, and I also made a decision to kind of hone in on football, and at that time I got a lot more involved in our scheme and in our practice organization, and then eventually I was able to, Bruce's last couple of years, he and I kind of shared roles as offensive coordinator, 2009 and 2010, and he was also kind of he knew he was getting out, and I think he was kind of starting to give other more coaches on our staff some responsibility, and so and I was happy to take on that responsibility. We did a lot of we went to Navy in 2005 together. Went to a lot of clinics together. There used to be a great clinic down at Knox College, a great option clinic down there that was run by the staff there. I can't remember who the coaches were, but Coach Hamilton spoke at it.
No kidding.
Years ago when Unity was triple option. I remember
he was a triple option guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember listening to him, and just a lot of guys. Tony Anese's staff talked at that from up when they were up at Muskegon, and it was a great clinic they had down there. But anyway, kind of got more involved in things, and then when Bruce took off, that's when I took over.
Well, I want to check in our guys in the chat. Sean Anderson here out of Batavia, Illinois. Thomason out of Oregon said can't get further west in the lower 8 state than where Thomason lives out in Oregon. Robert Bornhole out of Hobbs, New Mexico, and Coach Q in the house out of Back of the Yards High School in Chicago. Thank you, everyone, for checking in. If you're here and you haven't checked in, let us know where you're watching from. We love hearing from you. Coach, I'm going to do this. Right before we ask you a football question, I'm going to ask a trivia question. And this trivia question goes to you, Coach, and we kind of see, can you beat our chat? Or can our guys in the chat beat you?
Hold on. I'm at school. My son's not here.
Is he a trivia whiz?
He knows who you are. He does that. I don't know if you know, he does this. He has FB Stadiums USA. He does like football fields.
Yes, I follow him.
And a matter of fact, we were at Unity High School when it had grass. And then he saw something where you guys got turf.
Yeah.
And he's like, Dad, we got to go back there and retake some pictures. So, I could use him tonight.
Oh, man, Samuel Hathorn in the house out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Welcome, Samuel. Thanks for checking in. All right, anybody in the chat, see if you can beat Coach to this one. Now, I read this question. I had no idea. Sometimes some guys are just good at trivia. Who is the last number 1 pick in the NFL draft to win both a Heisman Trophy and a Super Bowl? Your hint is, sounds like South Carolina fans should know. Maybe he's a South Carolina boy. Coach, do you have any guesses? How about in the chat? Anyone in the chat have a guess? I have no clue. Let me see if I can give you a year. Oh, I would and that's why I have no clue. This guy won the Heisman at South Carolina in 1980 and was a member of the Redskins Super Bowl 22 team. His name is George Rogers. I would have had no idea. Okay. This one you might have a chance for. Last question, then we'll move on. Which NFL team has lost a record 9 straight postseason games? Do you know? Does anyone in the chat know?
This is a record?
It's a record. NFL record, 9 straight postseason losses.
Oh, geez. The Bengals haven't been there enough to lose that many.
I wonder. Somebody just said Cam Newton. Well, not Cam Newton. Larry says George Rogers. Did you know that answer, Larry, before the answer came up? Campos says the Bears, not the Bears.
Yeah,
you know,
that was my first guess.
The Bears
there.
won. What was that? The last time probably when my man Jay Cutler sat out of the NFC Championship game. I was mad. I was mad at him for that. I'm not going to lie. Coach, it's the Lions. The Lions have lost 9.
I was thinking, when were the Browns before this last one? What did the Browns?
Well,
wasn't that like?
I think it had been 20 years, they said, since they had won one.
Yeah,
but apparently,
I guess you got to be in it in order to lose it.
Yeah, that'll slow your streak down right there.
Yeah.
Oh man, without further ado, let's talking a little bit of football. Oh, hey, Coach Reinhardt, Sean Reinhardt, split back veer guy out of Michigan, who actually just had several videos coming out to the online clinic, guys. Sean Reinhardt in the house. He says it can't be my Lions. Yeah, it's your Lions. It's your Lions. Let's talk a little football. Listen, you took over at Cary-Grove. You guys were winning ridiculously. Now you've continued to win, right? 2 times just since you took over in 2011, 2-time state runner-up, state champs in 18. Do you feel as the season gets ready to roll? How do you feel pressure that like we have to be awesome again?
I don't think so. I mean, there's always pressure. I learned that my first year coaching. I learned that was probably the biggest thing I learned right away was there was pressure every single game. And we my first year as head coach, we beat St. Charles East, was my first win. Had a nice win. I think it was 28-0, you know, and then we beat Lake Zurich at Lake Zurich 10-7, and it was a close game, and they were good that year, and like they typically are. And you know, felt pretty good about things. I'm thinking, hey, we're 2-0. We might have been ranked, you know, like second or third in the state or something like that, and you know, had it going on. And then we played Crystal Lake South, and we lost 10-7 on a 52-yard field goal they made, which was just deflating. And I remember the looks on the people's faces when we lost that game. And I remembered just you could just feel it. And maybe I felt it more because I was pretty, you know, I was maybe a little bit oversensitive to it, but you could feel that pressure. And then when we didn't play well the following week at homecoming, but we won, you know, and I learned that right away, is that no matter who we were playing, there's always pressure. It didn't matter if you were playing the best team in the conference or the worst team in the conference, there's always pressure. And then, you know, the more you get, the more experience you get, and the more you get kind of comfortable with things, that pressure just becomes a part of it. I guess that's why all of us either lose our hair or have gray hair. You know, you just you get used to it. And so I think the kids maybe feel that pressure more than I do, you know, because, you know, we've made it to been in the playoffs 15 years in a row for a public school in the state of Illinois with the great schools that are around us and the great conference that we're in. You know, that's a challenge just for those guys to know, hey, we want to do the same thing and better the next year after that. So, so there's definitely pressure, but I think it's more for the kids than it is for us. But yeah, I definitely feel it.
When I watch you guys play, there is a level, like, it is so clean. I mean, the formation is like pristine, the motion, and everything just pops, right? Okay, so I've watched a lot of football in my day. I've seen a lot of good high school teams. I've seen a lot of teams run Flexbone. But your guys's, and you're not alone, there are other teams that can do it. But there's no doubt when you turn on the TV or you watch film and you see Cary-Grove, it's like, you know, it's like that mint baseball card with no corners that are messed up at all. Like, everything is pristine. What do you think, and it's hard to say, I'm sure, because you want to be humble, but what do you think Cary-Grove is doing so well? What are you guys doing well that just keeps the offense so clean and neat and executing at such a high clip?
I mean, I can give you a lot of the general answers, which are definitely true. Our kids are phenomenal and how they pay attention to detail. And I think when I talk to other coaches or, in a clinic kind of a format or something like that, I put such an emphasis on the off season and not overlooking details. It's so easy for coaches to overlook a kid's squat depth, where his squat depth is it's pretty darn good, but deep down that it isn't deep enough. And it's easy to do that, and it's easy to slip, and then you could look at that and say, it's just squat depth. But then you could look at other details. You could look at it like in our morning workouts, which I'm hoping at some point we can do again.
Right.
But you look at like in our morning workouts and how the kids hustle and how they finish but I just think it comes down to our attention to detail as a coaching staff, and then most importantly our kids buying into it, because you can buy into something, like if you go on a vacation and your parents tell you, hey, this is going to be fun, you can say to yourself, this is going to be fun, I guess. And the kids can say, all right, we're going to do what the coaches tell us to do, because that's just what players do. But then there's another level and I really think our kids truly recognize the importance of those details. And it's painful to get there too. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's a lot of work to get there. It's not only time pain, but it's also physical pain as far as like the endurance part of it and the memory work that our kids do. If they don't do something right, there's always a consequence. So, but I think our kids do a great job of paying attention to detail, and then the reward, of course, is when you see great execution on Friday night, and that's kind of what we really preach to them, is like, there's no real reward. There's no Gatorade for you for doing great in practice. The Gatorade is you looking good on Friday night and executing and winning. That's the reward.
Mm-hmm. And that's what. So let's talk about. Let me ask you a specific detail, and you tell me how you're getting it done. For example, almost every play, your line lines up, and every helmet is perfectly in line. How do you get something simple like that done?
Well, number one, you got to teach the kids the concept. Okay, so for that specific one, we tell our guards that they want to have their ear hole to the hip socket of the center. Mm-hmm. And then all the other linemen, the tackle and the tight end, are ear hole to ear hole. So you teach them the concept, and then they line up, and if it's not good enough, then we have them do something to help them remember it.
yeah, okay.
And then and it's not, but here maybe our approach is the key. It's not a you suck thing, now go do a down up or something like that. It's, hey, we care about you guys. We know you have high expectations. We know you want to be great. And we're here to help you get great. And this is a part of it. This is a big deal. And then you follow through on that, and it gets reinforced, and you pay attention to that. And I think filming practices is huge. Mm-hmm. So when you see something like that in practice, that you definitely make a note of it, and the kids see it, and you can just say, hey, look, this wasn't good enough tonight. We got to get better at this tomorrow. This is a point of emphasis tomorrow. We want to make sure that our vertical alignments are where they need to be.
The other thing that stands out, and we're still just in alignment right now, but it stands out to me. I have to ask, your running backs and wing backs stances, right? It doesn't look like high school football. It literally looks like you turn on the TV and you watch Army and Navy, and your wing backs are in these stances that are, it just looks like college football. I don't know how else to say it. How are you teaching the wing stance? Like, we're square, because you guys seem to actually move those wings a lot. but they always are in, obviously stance is important to you, but tell me a little bit more about wing stance fundamentals. Like, what are we teaching here?
Well, we went to the Citadel in 2014, and we watched what they did, and I just loved how their slots got into a 3-point stance, and they ran zone dive like crazy, and they were really good at it. And they said that the reason they liked their kids in a 3-point stance was because when they run zone dive, if you're in a 3-point stance and you've got to basically block like a lineman, you're already at the pad level you need to be. Also, when they're in a 3-point stance, you have a tendency to be able to be, because you're lower and you're down there, we found that our kids are more explosive in their takeoff because they got their hand down, they kind of got their weight on that outside foot, and they're able to push off on that. And then what we did after that trip was we really kind of played with where our slots lined up, and what we were hoping to get was as little motion as possible. I think when you watch Navy, especially, their slots will go in motion earlier than we would, and we were getting so many teams that were really cheating to our motion. And of course, you've got your counter game, and you've got a lot of moves that you can combat that. But let's face it, when we go in motion, 80% of the time we're going that way. So if you're just gambling and you're going to risk something, you may as well take a chance there. So we almost got them into a T alignment sometimes.
Right. I've noticed they're really far back sometimes.
Yeah. And so that's all we tell them. We tell them with their hand, they can choose whatever hand they want down. But whatever foot they're pushing off of, we want to focus on pushing off on the big toe of that foot. So if I'm the left slot and I'm going in motion to my right, I want to put all my weight on the big toe of my left foot so I can really squeeze that in the ground and really get a good push on that there. So that's pretty much how we've taught them. And then from there, as far as like where they line up, if you're looking at our offense from behind, our slots will line up anywhere from the outside of the tackle to directly behind the tackle to even sometimes inside shade of the tackle. But most of the time they should be about the same depth in their alignment there.
Well, Phil, I'm going to check in with my guys in the chat here. Coach, we only have 3 minutes to go. We might go about 3 minutes over, but I just got I'll try to squeeze in one more question for you.
Fast.
I told you it goes so fast. Guys in the chat, man, if there's a triple question or a Flexbone question that you've been wanting to ask somebody that has been running it for years, or you've been wanting to ask of Cary-Grove specifically, if you've been following them, and shoot a question into the chat right now. We'll try to get it over to Coach Seaburg. Real quick, Coach, I'm going to shout out my sponsor one more time because we're almost out of time. We're going to ask maybe 1-2 more questions. Coach Stone Football is our sponsor. Lay a foundation by going back to the basics with Coach Stone Football. Coach Stone has over 15 books available to purchase on Amazon. Want more information about his Back to the Basics Football Drill Manual series? Go to his website, CoachStoneFootball.com, or follow him on Twitter at Coach_Stone_MT. Coach, I got about 10 questions here, and I'm only going to be able to ask one. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask the ones that I want to know the most. I've been very curious as to how exactly do you teach the pitch, and is the quarterback being taught to I noticed it with you guys first. It was about 10 years ago. I was watching you guys play. It was probably in a state title game. Might have been more like 12 or 13. You might have been playing like Libertyville. And as the quarterback pitched, I feel like he almost chased the pitch, or like he clearly faded away. Maybe you're still doing that. Maybe you're not. I just have noticed that your pitches are clean. It seems to be very routine because I seem to see the same thing year after year. Been following you guys for a long time. Help me understand, how are you coaching the pitch to give yourself the best chance? Where do you want the pitch back to be?
Well, as far as how we teach the pitch, I don't overcoach. Some coaches really prefer like the basketball pitch with the thumbs down, and they're going to flip it like that. I think our kids do more of a push, and I don't think either one is right or wrong. If a kid came into Cary-Grove and he could pitch the ball fine and he was pitching it with his thumb down, I probably wouldn't correct him, as long as he was accurate with it. But we have there's some weighted footballs that we have that are they're pretty heavy. I think they're about 3 or 4 pounds, and that actually is pretty heavy when you're trying to pitch that thing.
Yeah.
And so we use those early on in camp. We use those on Mondays, and that really helps our kids, because then it's kind of like when you put a donut on your bat and you're warming up, and then you get a real football, and then it's like, wow, this is a lot easier,
Yeah.
So it's pretty nice to use those. But as far as how we teach that pitch with that fade, I think one thing we might do differently than other schools is we really try to get their legs involved in the pitch. And so when they fade like you see, they're really pushing off on their opposite foot. So if I'm running to my right and I'm pressing it, I'm going to push off on my left foot as I'm pitching the ball. And that really helps, especially our younger quarterbacks that aren't strong. And you can really tell when they don't have anything on the pitch, or when they don't have their balance, when they're just kind of like, early on, the young guys sometimes get scared.
Yeah.
And they're running and they just pitch the ball and get rid of it,
Yeah.
Whereas, the older guys are confident, and you can just tell, and plus they're stronger, which kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So we teach that pushing off on that inside leg to give them a little bit of strength on that.
And is the pitch back, like, what's the ideal angle of where that pitch back should be? Do I want them like out in front of me where I can see them, or do I want them here where, like, do you teach that guy anything? Where does he want to be?
When we run inside veer, that guy's almost going to be parallel to the quarterback. We want him to be. So as we're running, as we've pulled the ball from the fullback and now we're pressing the C gap, we want to pitch the ball almost to the point where it's borderline forward pass. Okay, when we run midline triple, where that backside slot doesn't go in motion, then that pitch is going to be a little bit deep. It is going to be deeper, and the quarterback's got to see that guy. He's got to see him out of the corner of his eye. But that's two different pitches for us. Is that midline triple and then the inside veer are two different. And that one. I don't know if you've ever. Well, you've been to Searcy, Arkansas, right? Harding University, which is right there in Searcy, which they are phenomenal at the triple option. We went and saw them last year, and the way that they taught inside veer and midline triple. Number one, we were both speaking the same language, but they were speaking it in a little bit different language than we'd kind of been accustomed to. But I liked their language better, than ours. And so a lot of the stuff they said made a lot of sense, especially that concept of inside veer and midline triple as far as where the pitch back is going to be.
Why is it different? Help me and I'm not a triple option guy. I love it. I watch it like crazy, but why is the pitch different?
Well, so when the pitch between inside veer and midline triple, when we run inside veer, the backside slot's going to go in motion. All right. So at the snap of the ball, he's going to be in the backside A gap. So after the quarterback does all of his stuff with the fullback, he's going to be out there quite a ways. And if he just runs like Forrest, he's just going to keep running. And now we're going to pitch that ball really wide and really deep. But what we want that guy to do is once he gets to a point slightly beyond the fullback, we want him to start going downhill, so that as the quarterback is now deciding if I'm going to keep it or if I'm going to pitch it, we want that guy going downhill, because now when he catches it, he's going to be catching it, number one, going downhill, and hopefully as near as top speed as he can be. And then the midline triple play, that one usually has some sort of counter motion. So if we're running midline triple to our right, the right slot is going to go in motion, stop, and then go out and block. Because he goes in motion, the other guy can't.
Right.
And so he's got to just haul. And by the time the quarterback does his thing with the fullback and presses to the pitch key, that there's no way that guy is going to be coming downhill. So it's definitely going to be deeper and further back there.
Okay.
And then understanding those landmarks, I think, is what Harding did really well, which we've, someday here, we hope to be able to demonstrate what we what we learned when we went to Harding. Someday here, hopefully. I don't know when, but
right, exactly. Yeah, I'm dying for that to happen. Okay, last question, Coach. I'm going to squeeze it in. Are you ever? I'm hoping your answer's no, but I got to ask: are you ever tempted to go gun and do stuff out of the gun?
Oh yeah, most definitely. There's
I've never seen you do it though.
We've dabbled in practice, especially like when we'll be in scout offense, trying to do what another opponent's doing there, and it's tempting. That it's our system. This is how we look at things. Okay.
Yeah.
Our system can be diverse with our personnel from year to year. So when we won it all in 2018, our quarterback threw for 1,400 yards, had 20 touchdowns, 1 interception. He had a 72% completion percentage. I mean, he was off the charts. And when we went to the semifinals in 2015 and lost to Glenbard West in that snow game, our quarterback that year, he rushed for 1 touchdown. And in a triple option offense, that's unheard of.
Right.
But we were able to that year take advantage of some other things in our team and utilize those things. Just like in 2018, we had Quinn Priester as a wide receiver who's 6'3", 200 pounds. You got to find a way to get him the ball. And he had more. What people don't realize is that you could go to shotgun, but it's not like if you go to shotgun, it's like boom, magic. We're gonna now all of a sudden have 40 touchdown passes.
Right.
We might have 40 touchdown passes, but you might have 12 interceptions.
Right.
And when we had Quinn and Ben McDonald and Danny Dago, those guys 2 years ago, what happened was we threw the ball a lot, and we actually had more receptions than the teams in our conference that throw a lot.
Right.
And so that's kind of how we look at it. Is if we have a quarterback who can throw, you gotta have the whole thing though. You gotta have guys that can protect. You gotta have guys that can go and catch it too. It's not just the guy that can throw it. So you gotta have the whole thing. And some years you do. Some years you just got some great players and you're able to utilize them. And that's it though. But
what would you get more grief from the Cary-Grove faithful if you showed up next season in new offense or new uniforms?
I think it would probably be the uniforms.
Those things are classic. So Cary-Grove wears the Penn State look. You guys been doing that for how long, would you say? I mean, has that been like since 50-year type thing?
Before me. That's been a long time, real long time. And every time we get new uniforms, they all look the same. But every time we get new uniforms, of course, it is the group that leaves is like, oh yeah, right when we leave, we get new uniforms.
They're still excited about it, even though they're still blue jerseys and white pants. Coach, I've had a blast getting to know you. Guys in the chat, thanks so much for joining us. If you could give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this conversation, we'd really appreciate it. And if you would like us to continue doing this, if you could subscribe, that helps a lot as well. We'll be back live tomorrow night with Anthony Gonzalez in the house out of Salinas, California. Coach Seaburg, what a pleasure, man. Any closing thoughts?
No, I do. All the things that you do, your clinics, and I've talked at a lot of different places, the way you organize your clinics. I don't know if I'm sure the guys that are on here right now know this, but for people that don't know, I mean, your clinics are awesome. The putting the coach in the corner, but then still having all the images right there. I mean, that was great. And then also to do all the things that that not just you, but just all the whole coaching community during this whole thing right here. These things are really nice. There's some guys on the chat here right now that are part of a Telegram chat that we have.
Okay.
You know, and there's just anything that these coaches are doing in the off season to support each other is great, because it's not. I mean, and kids are the ones that are suffering. You know what I mean? Because us as coaches, we're going to be here next year, but it's the seniors that are missing.
Right.
But at the same time, just because we're still going to be here doesn't mean that we're not hurting either.
Right.
And so it's good that you're doing these things to keep everybody kind of in touch and intact. So I appreciate it.
Man, amen. I appreciate the kind words. Well, guys in the chat, we're going to sign off. I hope to see you tomorrow night. That's all we got. Coach Seaburg, I hope to see you guys go unbeaten this year.
I would love all year, but unbeaten and this year would be great.
Amen to that. All right, Coach. Good night.
All right. See ya.